Well, hi folks, and welcome back to the plot. Today we are on the proper gimbal. So I've got my normal big proper camera and I'm on a very fancy gimbal. Thank you to everyone who watches these silly little videos. You've enabled me to really kind of up my camera game. Still getting used to it a little bit, but we should be hopefully nice and smooth. I look a little bit tired this morning, but we've got a lovely Sunday ahead of us. I've got lots and lots of time and I'm hoping to get started properly on the greenhouse base, but there's lots of other big jobs that I could be doing and I've got quite a long time, so hopefully we're going to start with the greenhouse base and see if we get some other things done as well. One issue I have just had is that my original idea was to kind of put this second greenhouse next to this one sort of and leave this kind of paved area in the middle, but I've just been looking at it. I've literally just arrived and I think what that would do is just create this kind of dead area that I can't really access with the water butt. And I had a bit of a brainwave and I thought actually maybe it just makes more sense to put these greenhouses literally right next to each other. But then there is a bit of an issue where I'd never actually be able to get in and kind of clean that glass. I'd never be able to get between. So I think it probably does make sense to leave a gap actually. I keep going before like to and fro. I'm not sure exactly what the best thing to do. I have already kind of started work on the ground. So if I leave it where it is now, that will make life a bit easier and it will allow that space in the middle. There is another slight issue, and that is that treading on stuff. The sleepers that I've used for this first greenhouse are not very happy. Let me show you in here, in amongst all these old flowers and weeds. One of these timbers has become extremely rotten. Now that is something that obviously you really do not want to see on the base of a greenhouse. And I noticed that a while back and I have been sort of monitoring that, but it's progressed quite badly since I last saw. So that is one of the reasons I want to make sure I do a really good job actually getting this in. The sun has come out, I'm blinded. But I think that's enough talking. I am going to leave that gap. I was thinking maybe I could just replace that one sleeper and then lay both greenhouses on the same sleeper, but I think I'm just going to leave the gap and replace that sleeper anyway. And I'm going to stop talking now and finally get stuck in. There's going to be a lot of doing today. I really hope so anyway. It's been a long time since we had a day where we properly just got stuck in, and I'm really looking forward to it. Now I do really want to just get stuck in, but probably should explain what I'm doing first. I've got this here, the top of the greenhouse, and I've just had this out to kind of mark out the area. What my plan is basically to dig some channels around the edges and basically fill those with stones, and then the sleeper can lie on top of those and hopefully it will give it a nice foundation, the water can drain away. And there is loads and loads of stones in here already. You can see I've started on this and basically I'm going to dig this whole area, collect all the stones and then kind of dig these channels around the outside and fill those up with stone. So it doesn't matter if it's not, you know, precisely engineered in terms of the size of the greenhouse, because there's going to be hopefully a nice wide base for the sleepers. That's the plan. Anyway, let's get started. Yeah, this is pretty hard work, but I think it's going okay. You might be wondering why I'm going so deep. Hopefully you can see I have gone kind of like a spade's depth, not quite that far, but I'm going really deep on the outside. And the reason is that I basically want to take the top off this whole middle patch, partly because that's where a lot of the stones are, but also because I'm thinking with this second greenhouse, I'm not 100% sure, but I might grow directly into the ground. So everything in that greenhouse is kind of in pots and on paving slabs. This one, I thought it might be nice to you know, have some beds or something like that. Maybe just one side. I'm not 100% sure, but I'd like to leave my options open. So what I'm doing is digging really deep on the sides, because I'm still going to take kind of 6 inches, maybe 4 to 6 inches off the top here. And as well, I can get in and get rid of as much bindweed and pernicious weeds as possible. This place is one of the weediest parts of the allotment. This is where there were some old compost bays. So that is why I'm doing it like this. And I'm kind of just filling up the soil into those little pots. And then if there's lots of stones in there, I'm using a soil sieve But this side is not too stony, so I'm going to carry on. Well, that first bit was quite easy because there weren't any stones. This bit really is, it's quite painstaking, and I'm sure there is probably a smarter way, but I don't really do, you know, the whole work smart, not hard. I tend to work hard, not smart, and this stuff is just, what I'm doing is, because I've only got this tiny little riddle, that's what it's called, isn't it? Yeah, riddle. What I'm doing is mostly going through by hands and getting the stones, but it does allow me to just get a bit of soil in there and not worry too much, and then kind of go through. But if I just put the spade full of, you know, stuff into here, it would take so long. Because although there's a lot of stones in here, this is just too much. So it's painstaking, but we are getting there, and I am harvesting an awful lot of stones. I tell you what, I think I might have bitten off slightly more than I could chew. At the start of this, I was like, yeah, I'm going to hopefully get the base done and loads of other stuff. I'll be very lucky if I can even get the base done. It's coming up to 4 o'clock now, I think. And I'm planning to put in a really good shift. I've even brought tea with me today. Like I've brought a flask of tea, which I never normally do. I never plan that far ahead normally. And it gets to about 4 o'clock and I go, I'm starving, and then I have to leave. But I'm in for the long haul today, so I'm going to have a little cup of tea and then carry on. This is absolutely painstaking. The problem is, the reason that it's so bad is because it's such heavy clay soil and it's quite wet, and the riddle just clogs up instantly. So I've pretty much got to do it by hand, because otherwise the riddle just clogs up and there's no point in doing it anyway. But it's quite nice actually in a way. It's been a long time since I did a properly difficult job like this, and it's reminding me of when I first took the plot on, best part of 3 years ago. You must have all seen the first video I ever uploaded. The first half was sort of what it looked like at the start. The second half was absolutely rubbish. But that first video I ever uploaded, I'm very proud of it. You know, that allotment has come so far. And yeah, it's just quite nice getting stuck into a proper job like this. And do you remember Potty Mouth Garden Club? Every Monday, a great garden live stream where we just chat absolute nonsense. Do come and join us. Oh, that is the best tea. Oh. So much more time later than I would like to admit. This channel is finally dug out, and we've now got essentially all the edge. And now I can start to do the actual middle, which is, you know, I'm not enjoying the idea of it, to be honest. And down here, you can see I've got this wheelie bin, which is finally a good receptacle for all of the stones. But my God, yeah, this just feels like one of those things that I could do for absolutely ever, basically. You know, there are a lot of tiny little stones in this quite big area. So yeah, I'm getting there, but now I'm going to start digging over this lot. And unfortunately, I can't film it because it keeps raining. So I'll chat to you when I've made a bit of progress. Very unlikely that I'm going to finish that today, funnily enough. Right, folks, it's coming towards 5 o'clock. We are close to losing the light, and the weather has come in properly. Just right on time there. It started raining. It's been raining on and off for the last half an hour. Getting pretty miserable, but you can see I've done maybe a third. And this is really challenging. This is really difficult because there isn't really anywhere for me to put the soil as I dig it. And the idea is to get this kind of turned over, get as many stones out as possible. But I've got the sleepers ordered, so they're going to be arriving soon. And I've only just thought, I don't think they're going to fit in my car. They're pretty long, and even if I cut them to size for this, that's going to require a bit of wrangling. But that's a bridge I'll cross when I come to it. But I'm not going to start filling in the stones or anything like that. What I've done is just filled up the stones in this wheelie bin behind me. I need to put a lid on that so it doesn't get full of water. And then kind of come up once this is all dug with the sleepers, with spirit levels, with you know, lots of enthusiasm as well. It's going to take all my enthusiasm, and then I can kind of start filling in the ground, bring it up to the right level, then put the stones on top, and then hopefully it won't require too much toing and froing and, you know, leveling it out. But there's not quite as many stones as I thought, so these might be a bit deep, but you know, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. It's so great to be stuck into a proper project like this. I'm going to carry on going. It is quite late, but yeah, join me in the next episode and I'll show you how much of this I actually got done, and we'll see how it goes. Thank you ever so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again next time.